Hello and welcome back. Today we are looking at Sybaris Prime, or Sybaris Prime, however you want to pronounce it. However you want to pronounce it is up to you. It doesn't really matter because pointing this thing at an enemy basically just spells out DED, dead. If you ever played Ratchet and Clank, understand that reference. Anyway, Sybaris Prime is the new primed weapon within the game, released with Silva and Aegis Prime and Oberon Prime. So you would think it's pretty good considering Sybaris itself, the vanilla, is pretty hardcore, and then you've got Dex Sybaris as well, so this weapon does have quite a lot to live up to. So I thought, well, best way to actually find out is whacking 20 enemies at level 145 in the simulacrum and spam it and just see what happens. And what happens was death. Pure and simple, just absolute death. It wrecked. Now, to be honest, this weapon, in comparison to the vanilla Sybaris, is a major upgrade. However, in comparison to the Dex Sybaris, it depends. They are both still very viable weapons. So it really does depend on how you play, how you want to play, the mission type you're going to be going up against, the enemies you're going to be going up against, whether you want to go for pure critical, because if you're going to go for pure critical, I would recommend probably the Dex Sybaris over the Sybaris Prime. However, the one thing for me, particularly because, well, I'm a status freak, the one thing you really can do with the Sybaris Prime is a hybrid build. You could even possibly go for a full-on status build if you are wanting. It's going to be a bit of a waste though, because this thing can crit like a truck. And if you have watched my previous Dex Sybaris video, you will know that I have a Riven. So guess what I've got in this build? A Riven. Good guess. So, and as always, as I've already said in the Dex Sybaris video, I do recommend a Riven for this weapon because you can easily push it over 100% critical chance. Now this weapon versus level 100 corrupted heavy gunners, it does wreck them. It does struggle a little bit above that, but to be honest, with the status chance now being boosted by how it has done, by quite a bit in fact, you putting on a hybrid build is perfectly viable. Adding in corrosive damage, you're able to get those corrosive procs, so you can get even more damage out of it because you're stripping armor, which is helpful. Or you could go for a viral slash build because it's mainly slash, although weirdly not by much, but still you can get slash out of it. So on that note, really, with the whole Rivens in mind, Sybaris Rivens, if you can then get multi-shot or status chance on top of critical damage and critical chance, you're going to be paying even more. So do keep that in mind when I do say that I would recommend a Riven for this weapon. They will no longer be as cheap, despite the fact that they normally go for over 1,000 plat anyway. They are now going to probably go for even more stupid pricing, so please do keep that in mind. Now, the Sybaris Prime does have an innate natural punch through of about 0.5, so it is possible to hit things through thinner constructs, walls, except doors even, as well as possibly even through a few enemies. And I say few as in a select few, not going to go through a few and then hit like 10 people back. So do keep in mind that it does have punch through, and if you want to work on that punch through, go nuts. Having punch through is a very well worth thing. However, personally for me, this thing hits like a truck, so you don't really need that much. And this is a level 145 corrupted heavy gunner, and as you can see, armor stripping will kick in, and at which point there, armor's gone, so now it's goodbye. So it does hit like a truck. Now, as I've already said, compared to Sybaris, the only thing it really has is the vanilla Sybaris has more accuracy, but we don't really have to pay any never mind to that because we're all pros at aiming. Now you can see here in comparison to Dex Sybaris, there's reds and greens all over the place. It does have a lower critical chance, the Sybaris Prime, but only by 5%. The main one being is the overall damage is more flat, as well as increase in status. And this is the build I'm using. It's pretty much identical to my Dex Sybaris build. The only thing that's different is I'm using the dual stat mods for corrosive. Now if you don't have a Riven, I'd recommend either going with bladed rounds or argon scope. I have seen a few people use critical delay. That is entirely up to you, but I personally would recommend argon scope just to get those crits up. Anyway, that's me. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Ta-ra!